Monday Night Football. Just the referees and the penalties, absolutely ridiculous. No flow to that game. But the Oilers give up, I think, 8 power plays and still not power play goals, but 8 power plays to the Flyers and still somehow score late, send it to overtime, and they covered the team total of 3.5 that I gave out on the show. So I was pretty happy that if you guys at least followed that, you won. It was a 1-in-1 night. Today we're talking Buffalo Sabres, Pittsburgh Penguins, LA Kings, Toronto Maple Leafs. Andrew's going to have 1 or 2 prop plays during the prop play segment. It's a slim card, not a lot to choose from. He'll try and give you 1 or 2. And then we're going to finish it off with the Boston Bruins in Colorado to take on the Avalanche. Georgiev starting again. In goal. And then we'll finish it off with a best bet segment, try and send you guys out of here with hopefully some info and hopefully a few winners. And with that said, Buster, I'm going to throw it to you first, and then I'll come back and give my thoughts before we go to Andrew. The Buffalo Sabres, Pittsburgh Penguins. Welcome to the show, Buster. What do you like tonight?
Thank you. Okay, in this game, I know it's your Buffalo Sabres, Carm. You know what?
I own them.
I was actually hoping this line was going to be a little bit higher than the 130 for Pitt. I thought maybe, it'd get up to 140. But I actually believe the Sabres are a live dog here. I do understand why the line is a little bit lower than I thought it would be, because Buffalo's in a pretty good spot. They have had 3 days off after that very impressive win over Florida. And Pittsburgh, our first home after a 3-game road trip. But, it's early in the season, and it was all East Coast, and I think every game was under an hour flight for them to go. They went, I think it was Toronto, Montreal, Detroit, and, back to Pittsburgh. They're all very, very close. So I'm not sure how much that will matter in this one, but it is something, when you have that three-game road trip and you're coming back home. Sabres did get their first win in that last game. So I like that. I like them to carry that momentum. And Buffalo did win 2 of the last of the 3 games against Pittsburgh last season. So I do lean a little bit on the Sabres here. I'd like to see a bit of better of a number. As for the total, I like it under. All 3 games last year went under. The under is 8-2, the last 10 between these clubs. Looks like it's going to be Jari and Luukkonen in net, and both these guys have kind of struggled so far this year, but I think they're a lot better than that. I actually know they're a lot better than what they've been playing like, and the way these 2 teams, when they get together, they seem to play a lot of unders. So I do like the under here, the under 6. I think both these guys are going to have solid games tonight. So overall, I do like Buffalo. If the line does get up a little bit higher, I might make a small play on the Sabres, but I think the under 6 is the play here.
All right. Don Buster with his thoughts on the Sabres. Not my Sabres. I don't own them. I cheer for them. And even
you know what I mean.
I don't even cheer for them because each and every year, guys, the best way to pick a team is to pick one that isn't going to disappoint you. And when you expect nothing from the Sabres, you can't be disappointed. It's kind of like the Buffalo Bills. It is the same way. My favorite team is the one I have money on that wins and covers the spread or the puck line or the goal line or the over-under. That's who my favorite team is. In this one, you look at, okay, the Sabres started off in Prague, a couple games against New Jersey. And you look at those numbers, and they only scored a goal in each one of those games. But their analytics were so much better in game 1 as opposed to game 2. Then they come back, they play against the LA Kings in a game in which I thought, and the analytics support it, it was a much better game for the Sabres. But a power play in the 18th minute, last couple of minutes of the game, they give up a power play goal, give up an empty netter, and that's a 3-1 result. You have to, sometimes the final score can be misleading. I think it was misleading there. And then they follow that up with a win against Florida. And Florida is still a very good team, even when they're missing Barkov and Tkachuk, as we saw against the Boston Bruins. So last time out at the Garden. So Sabres at least to come out in this game and get going early. I like the plus 105 that you're getting with the Sabres in the first period. And that's where I'm going to go here. No handicap in this one. If it's tied after one, we push our bet. We're taking a plus money here and take the Sabres plus 105 here. And I'll go to Andrew for his closing thoughts on this game.
Yeah, guys, I like the Sabres spot, and as Buster mentioned, look, they're not traveling around the world, but, the Penguins weren't traveling too far around, but it still is a factor with them getting back home after that road trip. And it was a decent road trip for them, hitting a couple teams there in the East Coast. But coming back, and you got a Buffalo team that's going to try and continue to build off what they had going in their last game, of course, against Florida, having not played since Saturday. But I don't like the price enough. I don't know, something about this. I couldn't get to the window with Buffalo on the money line. But when I think Buffalo, I think goals. When I think about Buffalo even competing in a game, I think they're going to score goals. I think it's going to be rare to see Buffalo, I think, winning games where they don't have to score 4 or 5 goals. In their game against Florida, they did dominate them and win 5-2. But I think a lot of the games we see Buffalo score goals in, they're going to be track meets. And Pittsburgh, I don't trust their defensive core. I think they're going to be a team, guys. I was saying this to a friend the other day. I think that last year they're one of the least penalized teams in the league. And I think this year that might change because they're pretty slow. They got some guys that will take some lazy penalties, some stick infractions, some tripping, some slashing. We'll put them in the penalty box, and other teams will capitalize and score some goals. Montreal did have more chances than the scoreboard reflected in that game. They could have scored a few goals there on the Penguins. But that game easily did fly over the total in large part due to the Pittsburgh Penguins putting up a bunch of goals. But I like the over here in this one, lean towards Buffalo on the side. But I think that any game that Buffalo's really involved in, that they're playing well, I think it also means these teams are trading goals. So in this one, I'm going to go with the over here. I could see the idea behind Buffalo. And also, guys, is this Pittsburgh team going to be able to put together, back-to-back good performances? I think it's something we have to wonder as well. Like some teams are kind of they have a good one, then they have a bad one. They have a bad one, and then they come back as a group. Curious to see, especially off the road trip, if this Pittsburgh team can put back-to-back good efforts together. So we'll find out tonight, guys. But I think it's going to be kind of a messy game, so I'll go with the over.
Yeah, so it's good to see you and Buster going mano a mano in the first game instead of Buster and I doing so, Andrew. But, one last thought, as far as like the Sabres go, and we'll see how the game plays out tonight. But they had to play a New Jersey team that is now adjusting to a new system under Sheldon Keefe, who we saw with the Toronto Maple Leafs, tried to get them in the last month of the season and in the playoffs to play a more defensive game. And they did, but they sacrificed offense because of it, and then they come back and they play the LA Kings, a team that we know is last year was a good defensive team. They play Florida, a team that will smother you into the ice. This is probably the one game in which they're not facing a defense like those 3 teams over those 4 games. So, and you look at sort of the XG in all situations, the XG created by the Buffalo Sabres, 3.61 in game 1 in Prague against New Jersey, 178 in game 2. That was their lowest output. 439 in game 3 against the LA Kings, a game in which ended 3-1 for the Kings. And then 3.3 in the 5-2 win over the Panthers. So they're creating chances. The whole idea of the Sabres this year was to, it was a bit of a youth movement and just allow the skilled players to play more of a finesse game. It's one of the reasons why they got rid of Jeff Skinner, and he's in Edmonton right now. But with that said, Andrew, we'll see what we get out of the Sabres. I think they are moving into the future, and some of the games that they have Columbus up next, I think, after this one, and then they play the Chicago Blackhawks. I think they're going to be a team when they play another team that can score goals. They're going to be one of the ones where you want to be taking the overs, and I'll be keeping an eye on them. This one moved; it steamed from 6 to 6.5. I think it's unplayable at 6.5. At 6, I would have made a case for the over. 6.5, you can actually make a case for the under. So I'm off the total on this one, but we shall see. Enough of the Sabres, Andrew. I'll throw it back to you to queue up the next game.
Enough of the Sabres. Too much Sabre talk already here on the show, guys. But hopefully it's a good game and an exciting one either way. And guys, we appreciate you being here as always here on Puck Time with the three of us. Do us a favor, hit the like button, show us some love here on the show. It's been a pretty successful start to the season, and we're getting out some winners here on this show. So hit the like button and let us know that you are enjoying. We appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it's live or after the show. Let's talk LA Kings and Toronto Maple Leafs Wednesday night hockey here in the eastern part of Canada, guys. And I'll go first on this one. Another total bet for me, staying off the side, another total for me here. I like the under 6. You're getting like close to even money on this one. And honestly, I know we don't like to play Monday morning quarterback and base a lot of our handicap based on a last game. You can go game by game, but the LA Kings, guys, they're coming off a game that finished 8-7. 8-7. I mean, you had like peewee hockey goaltenders in there in that one. It was unbelievable. It was a disaster. I mean, it was at one point it was 1st to 5 wins, 1st to 6 wins, 1st to 7, and then it was 1st to 8 wins. 8-7 being the final score, and LA lost. That's embarrassing for any team to give up that many goals. So if anybody wants to try and tell me that there will not be an emphasis for LA to get back to defensive hockey, I'll have to disagree, because LA's their first 2 games on the East Coast, smooth sailing unders. And then their game against Ottawa was just an absolute disaster. As far as the Maple Leafs right now, they are picking it up defensively. They are making a little bit of a change. People are going crazy saying that Berube is already changing this team a little bit. Well, they're looking pretty good. It probably helps the fact that Matthews hasn't really scored a goal yet. You've got certain guys that are, injured right now. Nylander's dealing with an illness. Tavares has been dealing with an illness. A lot of illness is going on in Toronto. I don't know what's going on there in your part of the world, Carm, but I'm going to go with the under here. Defensive hockey, hopefully some good goaltending, and hopefully a huge emphasis for both these teams on protecting their ends of the ice. And I love the fact that I'm getting even money on a total bet here around plus 105, plus 100 for the under 6 in this one here. Carm, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, coming into the season, I'm starting to using that listen again. I used it 2 or 3 years ago. Pretty much every time I started a sentence, I said listen. But with that said,
you should be a teacher.
Yeah, it's a keeper. It's better than saying 13 or 14 times in a show. But this was a face made for radio. Andrew, with that said, the Leafs coming into the season I thought would be better at the beginning of the season. I know it takes time to adjust to a new system or even a new coach, but they've looked good in all 3 games. I get it. They started the season losing 1-0 in Montreal. That's a game in which they had 48 or 49 shots on goal. Montembeault played unbelievable. The Leafs generated in all situations 6.09 XG in that game, according to Natural Stat Trick website. That's an unbelievable number. But if you watch the game, and I know you watched it, Andrew, I watched it. Montembeault played fantastic, and he played great in the second game. Not so great against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the third game at home for the Canadians. But he's still in his head. The Leafs since then go to New Jersey, beat a Devils team that was 2-0 in Prague. Came back, they beat them, and then return home and beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. And while the final score doesn't really dictate how that game was played, at least win that game 4-2. It could have been a lot worse as far as the scoreline goes. I think the Leafs are a definite bet on. The problem with making the statement that these are bet on teams is that the price are not the prices we want to be betting on. At least I don't. You parlay guys out there who might like parlays might say, okay, well, I'm not going to take the Leafs at like minus 195 or 185 or what have you, but I'll just include them in a parlay with another team. That's always a little tough as well, too, because parlays are bankroll busters as well, too. I'm going to give you a player prop. I tweeted out in jest to Prez last night after Gustafsson scored the goal, the Minnesota goalie scored a goal, that he had more goals than Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews turns that 0 tonight into a couple of goals. I'm not just going to take Austin Matthews to score minus 135. I'm going to take the plus money. Austin Matthews to have at least 2 goals tonight, 2 or more goals, plus 330 is the price on that. Matthews has got to get off the schneid. This is the game to do it. Come on, Austin Utso, if you're watching. Our first show, I said you were going to score some goals in Montreal. You didn't do that. Do it here. 2 goals for Austin Matthews tonight, plus 330. Dom Buster, can you talk me off that play?
Actually, I'm not going to talk anybody off any plays. That's what you think. You might be right there. I'm sure Andrew doesn't like to hear that because that might mean this game goes over. But I like to hear that because I actually, for the second game that we talk about, butt heads with Mr. McGinnis. But at first, I'll talk about the side here. The line, like you said, 180, and I tell you that's just tough because LA is a very good club. But I'm going to say this, and everybody knows that's been watching the show for years and years. I am a Leaf hater, but I always call it as I see it. Last year, I played the Leafs a lot. I was with them. I thought they were a good team. I think Berube is a great coach to pick up here. I think it's only going to help this club. I'm going to try not to throw up in my mouth when I say this, but Toronto is right now the best team in the NHL going after the first 2 weeks. I watch a ton of hockey. Vegas was a close second. They lose last night, so I'm going to say Toronto's right now. They've played really well. You mentioned it, Carmine. They should have beat my Canadians. I'm glad they didn't. I love rubbing it into my buddies that we won 1-0. I don't care if Montembaum saved 100. Doesn't matter. They won the game. That's all that matters. So, but here I just think this line's a little too high. You know what I mean? LA, like I said, is a good club, and they are 1-2 on the season. But both those games they lost in overtime. So, and last year these teams split their games. So it's a really, to me, it's tough to, even if you like the Leafs, to bet them in regulation. You don't want to lay the 180. I'll tell you that right now. So for me, the side is just too tough of a pick because LA could be live, but I really think the Leafs are playing some excellent hockey out of the gate, which I'm kind of shocked. What I do like, as I said, button heads with Andrew. I like it over 6. Again, not going to see the Leafs at 6 too often. You might this year if they start playing the way they've been playing defense, although I think all the games have gone under so far this year. But again, I think LA broke out. Andrew mentioned it. They broke out last game for 7 goals. They have a good offense. They put up a 7 spot, and I think that helps them here. But the fact is that the last 10 games with these clubs, the total has been under 7 out of 10 times. But why do I like the over? Because like I just said, it's the eye test more for me. I watch a lot of hockey. LA, I think, because of what they did last game, they're going to keep that up. And the Leafs, well, they have been playing all but offense. Carmine mentioned it. That score the last game was 4-2. It could have easily been 7-4. You know what I mean? It was an over game. And then the other one, me and Carmine in New Jersey, we both got beat on that one when they didn't score a goal in the third period. It was 4-2 after the 2. So just have to get to 6 here. And I just want to mention one thing. Carmine mentioned about Matthews. Another thing for Toronto, they have one of the, last year they had one of the top power plays. I think they were top 10. They have not scored a power play goal this season. 0-9. So no power play goals, no goals for Matthews. All that stuff changes tonight. You're going to see maybe a 4-3, 5-3 type of game. No side for me here, guys, but I will take the over 6.
All right, Buster is looking for some scoring tonight. He's looking for goals tonight. He talked about the scoring in that LA Kings 8-7 game against Ottawa. Buster loves scoring, man. Buster's been scoring since he wore platform shoes, bell bottoms, and used to hang out at Disco-Rama. So, with that said, just keep on scoring, buddy. Keep on scoring. He's scoring down in Mexico on the avocado farm that he owns. Andrew, give us some prop plays, man. I know you have at least 1 or 2 good tidbits. So what do you have for us? Let's go to Andrew for the prop segment, and then we'll finish it off with the Bruins and the Avalanche.
Yeah, Carm, as I mentioned, I don't love this slate, but I found a few trend picks that I kind of wanted to mention. And I think it's good sometimes to mention some of these trends. Sometimes like Buster talked about earlier on today on Puck Time, the eye test is important, but sometimes it's important to look at trends as well. And so we'll look at a couple of them here, and we're going to look at 5 straight games for Alex Tuck from the Buffalo Sabres against the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's gone over 2.5 shots on goal. Buffalo catching Pittsburgh. First game back at home after a road trip. They're trying to get another win on the board after they had a slow start to their season. We'll go Tuck over 2.5 shots on goal for the Buffalo Sabres. And then you look at Charlie Coyle for the Boston Bruins to get a point, plus 105. He has a point in 5 straight games against Colorado. So I feel like that's pretty good to look at. I love getting that plus money. Colorado's giving up goals right now. Their defense and goaltending both looking weak. And he's on the second line again. I think Coyle's a good guy, and the fact that you got plus 105 with him is pretty good. And here's one for us to all mention. I do like the under in this game. However, if we expect the Leafs to make some noise tonight, Morgan Rielly has a point in 12 of his last 13 home games. So a few trend picks here tonight, guys. I have not bet these myself, but a few trend picks. 12 of his last 13 games played at home, Morgan Rielly had a point, a goal, or an assist. So he's doing pretty well for the Maple Leafs, guys. So we'll take those 3 props. Hopefully we can cash some tickets. And, hey, an all right day yesterday. We'll try and get back to those 2-1s or 3-0 days. But we did cash the Sean Monahan one. I didn't get greedy with the goal. We got the player point there. But it was a pretty good day yesterday overall in the NHL. And Carm, we've got that Save 50 promo code going right now. Save 50. We'll take $50 off a 30-day NHL pass. And we're up almost 19 units so far on this season. So hopefully we can build on that with one best bet tonight. But back to you, Carm, to set up our last game today.
You are off and flying. I'm on the plus side, not plus 19 units, but on the plus side of things. And I'm happy about it because I take a cautious approach, and it's still tough, but I'm amping it up. I have a 4% play going tonight and a 3% play. So it's the first 4 of the season for me. No 5s standing out to me as of yet. But I want to mention, because it is hockey, but it is humanity. It is how people are. Absolutely love what they did in Columbus yesterday in that game. Opening puck drop, the players stand there for 13 seconds. Nobody touches the puck, and they acknowledge Johnny Gaudreau. You could see the fans in the stands. They're panning it. Fans are crying. Fans are emotional. The players are emotional. The benches are clapping. This is such a great sport. They protect their own. They honor their own. And it's a great tribute to Gaudreau and his brother, who lost their lives during the summer. With that said, Andrew, let's switch focus. And Buster, I'm going to go to you first on this one. The Bruins and Colorado. I winced when I said Colorado and Georgiev. I mentioned at the beginning of the season that Georgiev has not looked good. He's fighting the puck, and they're lighting them up. They've allowed 20 goals. Georgiev has been in there, but he's been pulled. And it's only a matter of time if Colorado doesn't put something together that they make the goaltending switch, and Bednar goes with the hotter hand. The hotter hand is definitely not Georgiev right now in this one. But this is a Bruins team that you wouldn't expect a lot of goals from. But every time you say that, they do score goals. I think this is one where Colorado has to play better defensively. And it's always tough trying to tell people to take an under 6.5 when one team has allowed 20 goals, and that team is the Colorado Avalanche, who have a wealth of scoring in their lineup. But that is exactly what I'm going to do now. A get well spot, hopefully, for Colorado here. 3-1, 4-1, cashes a ticket. 4-2 cashes a ticket. I'd rather not get to that point. I'm taking the under in this one, and I'll toss it to Buster for his thoughts.
Well, Carm, since I went against Andrew in the first 2 games, I might as well go against you in the last game that we're going to talk about here. I actually like it over, but I'll get to that in a sec here. I tell you, it just looks like the odds maker here wants you to bet Colorado, right? It's minus 120. So usually they'd be a little bit higher even against a Boston team here. But you know what? Again, like I say, you just have to watch this Colorado team. Oh my, it's, we talk all the time on here. We say about pond hockey. These guys are not even trying to play defense. It was crazy against the Islanders. Just crazy. I actually thought, okay, they lost their first 2 games. I actually bet Colorado the last game, watched that game, and thought, I'm going to bet this team over until they actually decide to play some defense. And I don't think it's going to be tonight. That's for sure. As you mentioned, Carmine, now they're 0-3. They've allowed 20 goals in 3 games. It looks like Gorgiev's going to be back in net tonight. That can't be good. And the thing is, the Bruins haven't looked so great on defense at all themselves either. So, but again, I really don't want to side here because, Colorado hasn't won a game, right? And, you kind of like the Edmonton game last night, Edmonton-Philly. I even said, I did a free play video. I even said, you know what? Edmonton might be the play, but I want no part of them because they can lose 4 in a row. Well, you know what? Colorado can lose 4 in a row. There's no doubt, especially the way they're playing defense here. So anyways, we are going to take the over and go against Carmine here. So far, the Bruins have gone 3-1 to the over, and Colorado has gone 3-0 to the over. It doesn't matter to me I didn't see a starter yet for Boston, whether it's going to be Swayman or Korpisalo. Colorado does have a good offense. They are going to, being at home. They only scored a couple goals last game, so I like them to put some pucks into the net. But again, to me, the way it's going to be a pond hockey game because Colorado hasn't, all 3 games I've watched, they haven't even come close to trying to play defense. And it's not going to happen tonight. Give me the over 6.5.
All right, Buster looking towards some goals here. The over in this one, Bruins and Avalanche in this game here, guys. And, it's tough with the Avalanche right now, but I think compared to teams like Edmonton that were struggling, Vancouver still winless, the Nashville Predators, I think the one excuse that the Avalanche have is their injuries, right? I mean, and I lost. I had the team total on them 2 nights ago, and I thought, oh, maybe I'm getting a discount because of the players that they don't have out there, but when you look at the fact that there's no Landeskog, he's supposed to come back, no Lehkonen, no Nichushkin, no Jonathan Drouin, and apparently Devon Toews won't even be back for a few weeks either, even though he's a defenseman, he's an offensive player. It's tough, guys. They're not just missing like some bottom line players. They're missing like their power play guys. They're missing key guys that would be out there making an impact in the playoffs for them. Whether or not they were in there or not, they're, Nichushkin, Drouin, Lehkonen, those guys are all top 6 players that just are not in the lineup right now for the Colorado Avalanche. And that kind of shocks me a little bit in this one. And the Boston Bruins, well, at this point, guys, are they just owned by the Florida Panthers? Does the owner of the Florida Panthers also own the Boston Bruins now? Because I feel like the Bruins just can't get anything going against any team that lives in Florida. It seems like there's just something going on over there. But as Buster mentioned, the Bruins have not been solid defensively. Everyone's all excited about the goaltenders they have, and the big stacked, the height and the weight of their defensemen and how physical they can be. But you know what it means, guys, when you have big defensemen? It usually means they're slow. Usually means they're not fast. And in this day in the NHL, you need a mixture of physicality and a mixture of speed. So I'm going to go over as well, just like Buster. I think we do see some more goals in this one. And I kind of do lean towards the Colorado side. But as mentioned, it's one of those tough ones because, hey, do you want to keep betting on a winless team? But you guys know how it always goes. In spots like this is the kind of game that Colorado will win, right? They don't win the last few. Their previous game was a very favorable matchup that they definitely could have won. And then now in this one, they're going to have a good performance. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them hit their team total tonight after I lost it 2 nights ago. But I do think we'll see goals. So I'll lean towards the over 6.5 in this one. All right, guys, again, we love being here on Puck Time. A shorter slate today, but happy we were able to give some picks out. with a handful of games, and tomorrow's a massive slate. But you can find all three of us at WagerTalk.com. All kinds of sports going on right now. If you can't find something to bet on, you might be in the wrong business, or you might need a new hobby. Because Buster, we got CFL, we got NCAA football, we've got NFL, NHL, NBA starts soon. So I'm sure you have some packages going on for clients. What do you have going on?
Yeah, tonight I have a 4% Major League Baseball best bet up. But for this weekend, we have a 5% NFL max bet. We're having a pretty good month and a bit of the NFL here. We're on hitting 85%. We're on 11-2 NFL run here. We've won both of our 5% in the NFL this year already. So go over to the site and grab that play. We got it out early this week because we see things changing maybe against us. So we wanted to get that out early, and I suggest you guys grab it early as well.
Andrew, you're okay there?
Andrew?
Did he give a best bet?
I think Andrew
I don't think he did, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I when you just said what I had going on, I didn't know that was the situation. Of course, I do have a best bet for everyone because I know in the comments everybody wanted best bets. So here we go. Our show play best bet is going to be Dylan Guenther to get a point minus 120. That's the one game we didn't talk about tonight. Dylan has a point in 3 of the 4 games for Utah this season. And the only reason he didn't get a point last game, they got shut out 3-0. So like Utah as a team to bounce back here and score some goals, because before that game, they had 16 goals in the first 3 games. That's pretty good. Dylan is on the number 1 power play, and that's important to us when we take a guy to get a point. We actually really like to make sure that he's on that number 1 power play. Again, 75% for Dylan to start the season. That's pretty good. We will take Dylan Guenther to win, to have a point at minus 120, which I think is a pretty good price as well. I want to thank you guys for having me on Wednesday. It's much appreciated. Looking forward to that. Thanks to everyone that watched today. I know you could go watch somewhere else. There's all kinds of content. We really appreciate that you come, and we have a great following at WagerTalk because of these 2 guys, Carmine and Andrew. So best of luck with all your plays, guys. Have a great day.
Hey, good to see you as always, Buster. And I love that Guenther play, man. He's doing real well, and it's crazy you can get a good price like that still on him with how well he's playing. I'm shocked that that's a great price you can get. So, hey, why not keep betting that until the kid slows down? He's having a great start to his season. And Carm, you got a first 4% play of this young season in the NHL. What else do you have going on? And what's your best bet for the show?
Yeah, I'm going to have a few more packages. A couple games up for the NHL tonight, as mentioned, a 3% and a 4% play. You can get those over at WagerTalk. That Save 50, get $50 off an NHL 30-day all access is a great deal. And then some other packages. My NFL will be up soon, later on today, as well as college football. College football, I know you guys don't equate college football and Carmine Bianco together, but I've been doing it all season long. The last 3 Saturdays in college football, 11-0, 11-1 run. I lost a midweek total by this much, or I would be 12-0, but 11-0 in college football. And I've got 3 games up, and they'll be up this afternoon. NFL as well too. My show best bet, guys, I'm going to go back to the Sabres and Pittsburgh game, and I'm going to take Alex Tuch. The first couple of games, he was kind of smothered in Prague against New Jersey Devils. Since coming back, the offense is showing more life. Tuch has gone over his number in both games. I think 7 shots combined, 3 and 4. And against Pittsburgh last season in 3 games, he had 11 shots on goal combined over those 3 games. His total's at 2.5, minus 120-ish, minus 125, I believe. And that's where I'm landing on with your free play. Alex Tuch, over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 125 as your show best bet. Andrew, I'll toss it back to you for a best bet and close us out.
Carm, best of luck on that 4% play. And guys, that promo code SAVE50 will take $50 off a 30-day NHL pass. Don't miss out on that, as we're going to hopefully get off to a really good start to this season. And when you get that package, you get all of our plays sent right to your email or your mobile device. But my best bet, we're going to rock with the over in the Sabres and Penguins game. I do like the Sabres tonight, but I feel like anytime they play well, they're going to be involved in some high-scoring games. Penguins off that road trip. Don't trust their old defensive core. We'll take the over and look for some goals in Pittsburgh tonight, Sabres and Penguins. That will do it for Wednesday's show here on Puck Time. Thank you all for being here with us, guys. On behalf of Carmine Buster, I'm Andrew. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Puck Time.